turn. Hi, go Planet!
By your powers combined, I am Captain Planet!
Captain Planet, he's our hero. Gonna take pollution down to zero. He's our powers magnified, and he's fighting on the planet side.
Welcome back, everyone, to more from the Sableyes. I'm Mitch, and today we're going to take a look at the many ways that you can play Mewtwo and Mew Tag Team GX. This card has suddenly become one of the most popular cards in the format, thanks to Rapid Strike Urshifu being one of the best decks in the format. So let's see how we can play this absolute beast of a tag team Pokemon. Firstly, the most popular way of playing Mewtwo in the past has been in a Welder build, and this particular list from Kaiser Scorch in today's GG Tour Chill TCG Cup, number 5, whatever it's called, is a great example of it. It's kind of a variant where you're looking to attack with things like Victini VMAX, as well as utilizing Mewtwo and Mew's ability Perfection to copy the attacks of fire attackers. The default ones in these types of lists are obviously Reshiram. We've got Charizard-GX, which you can use Flare Blitz GX to do 300 damage, as well as Flareon-GX, which is a really cool inclusion in this particular list. It also uses things like Cramorant to try and get spit shot damage off on Dedenne-GXs on the bench. It's a really, really good way to get started with Mewtwo if you are interested in that particular archetype, and you don't even need to play with Mewtwo if you're worried about it. Victini VMAX as an attacker will do the job for you. The only issue with this type of list is that you are reliant on Welder, which can be a little bit awkward, but since you do have Victini, it's not that big of a deal. For me, a fire type list is probably the best place to start with Mewtwo, but it's not necessarily the most powerful. I think the most powerful list is actually a lightning variant. And that lightning variant is, of course, Pikachu and Zekrom, really. But Mewtwo and Mew is an integral part of this list. Pikarom, really powerful, full blitz, accelerates energy, deals lots of damage, but you'll notice that there's a fighting weakness in the bottom right hand corner of that card, which means that Rapid Strike Urshifu is going to be able to completely demolish this particular attacker. Mewtwo and Mew gives you the flexibility to attack into that particular deck. Lots of those decks are, of course, running Mimikyu to stop that Mewtwo and Mew, so we have copies of cards like Stealthy Hood to try and get through it. To be honest, Pikarom is still a really, really powerful list, and that's backed up by the fact that it's actually, this list here is actually the winning list from that GG Tour Cup, which was won by DRDYX with this exact list. So a really, really strong option if you are looking to play with Mewtwo and Mew. But who wants to see the lightning and fire variants? You can see them all the time. These are the variants that I'm most excited by. We've got a grass variant here, which was used by Vroom26 in Hegster Season 4 number 1. Did quite well. It is obviously a grass variant powered by Rillaboom. Allows you to accelerate tons of grass energy. We can get into them with the Rowlet, Alolan, and Exeggutor, and then use a myriad of different attackers to try and win the game. We've got Vileplume GX, we've got Pheromosa and Buzzwole, which is really, really good. Beast game can sometimes come up now that those numbers of HP has become very, very high. We have Incineroar-GX to be able to remove special energy, which is a massive part of the current standard format, and we also have Dragonite-GX with Sky Judgment, which can deal 270 damage. It's actually quite nice when you pair it up with Pheromosa and Buzzwole, to be honest, but that's as it may be. This grass variant is really, really strong. I'm going to show you a game with this one in just a second, but first I have to show off the other variant of Mewtwo that I'm really interested in, which is the Psychic one, which looks like this. This one is the winning deck list from Plaria's in Chill Series number 27. Actually beat Rapid Strike Urshifu, which many people are considering the best deck at the moment. This Psychic variant will very easily be able to beat that particular deck because Mewtwo and Mew is Psychic. We've got cards like Trevenant and Dusknoir, which is obviously Psychic. We've got Gengar and Mimikyu, which is Psychic as well. So many good attackers. Plus, thanks to the Aurora energy in this list, we can still utilize some other attackers like Garchomp and Giratina, Reshiram, and also Vileplume GX. I really like both of these variants, and like I said, I'm going to show you a game with the Grass one and the Psychic one, so you can make a decision about which variant you're most interested in playing. So we have a kind of awkward start with our Grass Mewtwo list first off. We have Eldegoss V in the active, And our hand's actually pretty decent. The awkward part is going to be the fact that we need to attach to the active to retreat here. Looks like we are going to be playing up against ADP, which is a pretty good matchup for this particular deck. Not only do we have a really strong matchup against Urshifu, which is obviously one of the best decks going around at the moment, but we also have a good matchup against ADP Zacian with this list, thanks to Exeggutor and Rowlet's GX attack, which is very, very good. Our opponent's using Mawile there. Unfortunately, we have no basic Pokemon in our hand, so they are going to miss out on benching any Dedennes here. Looks like just an Intrepid Sword from them, so now we are going to get to work. We could potentially tag call for a Mallow and Lana here, but to be honest, I don't think we really need to. Let's Quick Ball. We'll grab ourselves a Grookey with our Quick Ball. We obviously need that to be able to evolve into our Rillaboom. Then we can tag call. I'm going to grab the Rowlet and the Mewtwo here. I think both of those are really good options. We'll play down the Grookey. We'll play down the Capture Energy on the active so that we can retreat. Actually could have got the Mewtwo with that. We could have actually gone for the Mallow and Lana, which probably would have been better, but it's fine. We're doing the thing that we want to do, which is retreating into our Mewtwo, and we're going to use Super Growth on our Grookey to turn our Grookey straight into a Rillaboom, which is going to be fantastic for us. We've got plenty of stuff to do next turn, as long as we, you know, our hand's really good. Hopefully they don't Marnie us. Hopefully our opponent doesn't Marnie us. That would be very bad if they Marnied us. But we've at least got the Thwackey, we've got the Rillaboom, we can get some energy down, and we can probably get going from there. I mean, should have Mallow and Lana'd into the Mewtwo so that I wouldn't be in this position, but that's okay. You live and you learn. It's fine. Our opponent is looking for a water energy here. They're going to Escape Rope. I think we just throw the Exeggutor and Rowlet into the active, to be honest. They're looking for a water energy so that they can use their GX attack. We are looking for another energy so that we can use our Calming Hurricane attack. Looks like they are burning a ton of cards there with Dedenne, which is a good sign for us getting Marnied, frankly, because it means that our opponent is much more likely to click that card, considering they've only got 5 cards left. Maybe Marnie is their only supporter. Looks like no, it's just an Intrepid Sword, so it is going to not end up mattering, which is really good for us. And we've got a tag call as well, so we can actually use that tag call to find ourselves a draw supporter in Cynthia and Caitlin. Let's evolve into Thwackey. Let's use our tag call. We will grab a Cynthia and Caitlin and also a Guzma and Hala. That will guarantee us an energy if we want one. We can Voltage Beat into double grass into the active. That's going to have to be the way we go. And to be honest, I think we probably should just Guzma Hala here. That guarantees us the energy. We can grab everything that we need. We'll get rid of our 2 cards that aren't draw supporters. We'll grab a Big Charm, we'll grab a Capture Energy, that seems fine. And the Chaotic Swell, I think that's pretty much all that we need to do. Because now we've got ourselves an energy attached to our Eggrow in the active. Means that we'll be able to attack, which is it's the only thing that we are worried about, really. I'm not going to worry about getting anything with this Capture Energy. I'm leaving that bench space open. Let's Calming Hurricane into this ADP. And it means that next turn, provided we find an energy off of our Cynthia and Caitlin, we will be able to Tropical Hour into our opponent, which will remove all of the energy from play, which is, it's really critical for us. It's one of the things that means that this matchup's actually very, very winnable. What they're going to do is they're going to attach that water energy, they're going to use the Altered Creation attack, and since they haven't Ultimate Raid yet, well, I mean, it doesn't really matter. Since they haven't taken any prizes yet, and since they've utilized a couple of their metal sources already, us removing all of their energy from play is going to be a big, big problem for them. And that's why this grass version is really strong. It can just overpower some of those decks that are trying to overpower you. At the moment, we haven't seen too much from our opponent yet. Looks like they're going for a Professor's Research. I will say this, they haven't had a particularly good time of it. They have struggled to find their pieces. They finally get into their water energy, but it could potentially be just a little bit too late. There's a grass energy in our hand, so we'll Voltage Beat here. We'll grab 2 energy out of the deck. We'll put them both onto the active, and then we just guarantee the attack with the attachment. Tropical Hour will knock out their ADP, and will remove all of the energy from their Zacian, which is really good for us. It puts us in a position where we're pretty much guaranteed to win here. And in the end, we didn't attack with Mewtwo too much, which is disappointing. But, you know, sometimes it's just the way that it goes. They've conceded. Good stuff. Alrighty, so we're going to play the Psychic variant now, and it's much more kind of controlling variant, so hopefully we can get that going. It looks like a Zacian in our opponent's active here, so that could mean Lucametal or ADP again. It's ADP again. Alright, so we'll see if we can't do the same thing that we did last time, get our strategy off, and try and beat ADP at its own game. Now, obviously, this deck is slightly weaker against ADP than the Egg Round because of the ability Intrepid Sword, but it's going to be okay. Let's grab Gengar and Mimikyu with our Cherish Ball, then we can Quick Ball that away, grab ourselves a Mewtwo and Mew. We can play that down. We've got Mallow and Lana, so we can switch, which is good. We've got an Energy, which is fantastic. We can do that, and then we can Quick Ball. I think the smartest thing to do is going to be to Dedenne here, try and draw through our deck a little bit. To be honest, I'd really like to see, if I can, a Jirachi GX. Not because of the ability, there is a Jirachi, fantastic. Not because of the ability, but because of its attack, Star Search, which is actually quite good in this situation. We'll throw that down and use Star Search. We can search our deck for an energy. I think, actually no, I've got Horror Energies in hand. Let's use Aurora. We can attach the Aurora Energy to our Mewtwo, and it means that next turn we're going to be set and ready to use any attack that we like, which is fantastic. To be honest, it might just be a Horror House though, because our hand is kind of weak. We want to draw some cards if we can. So we'll try and do that. We'll see how we go. Our opponent has the Water Energy, so no slow start from our opponent here. Looks like they are going to be able to get the Altered Creation off early, which means that their attack is going to be live straight away. So they're going to GX here, and I think our play is going to be... Okay, yeah, we're going to Cherish Ball, so that's something. We can use that. Let's attach the Horror Psychic. I'll put the Air Balloon on the active, I think. Then I'll use Cherish Ball. I'm going to grab... Let's grab ourselves... Let's grab the Trevnoir. We know we're going to need to use it later. Let's grab that. I think that's going to be the right choice. I mean, we could grab any of these attackers, to be honest. But I think that Trevnoir is going to be the good one to go for. We will throw that down onto the bench as well. We can put the Big Charm on it. I think that's going to work. That thins out our hands so that when we scroll down to Horror House GX, not only can our opponent not play cards from their hand this turn, they also are forced to draw to 7. So now they have 8 cards in their hand, they can't play any of them. Means that their opponent, they're not going to be able to do anything, which is really, really strong for us. If they have, what, 6 trainer cards in there, we could potentially get a knockout on this ADP, but I don't know that it's worth doing. Let's attach a Horror Psychic and then Marnie. I think the play for us here is going to be to try and get them in that lock with Trevnoir's attack. We'll see if we can do it. If we can't, that's fine. We're still not in a bad spot. Let's Night Watch, half hit this ADP. We'll get rid of 2 cards from their hand. Metal Sorcerer and Eldegoss are excellent cards to get rid of. Hopefully they don't have an energy or a supporter. If that is the case, if they miss an attack, then we can continue to Night Watch over and over and over and try and ruin their plans. But there goes my plans. They've researched away a Metal Energy and attached a Water. So, great. Fantastic. Sometimes it just happens that way, that your opponent happens to draw out of the Night Watch lock, but that's fine. That's not a lock. It's just frustrating to play against. And our opponent's actually got a Zacian almost fully powered up here. They are Dedenneing into a fresh set of cards. It's not ideal at all, but it's okay. They're gonna half it into our Mewtwo here. They can't boss because they don't have the boss's orders available to them. They've already used research. They might be able to Great Catcher. That could have been what they were looking for. But hopefully they don't have that. If they had it, they would have played it already. It looks like it's just going to be an Ultimate Ray, which is fine by me. They'll accelerate some energy, get these Zacians all powered up, which is a little bit frightening. To be honest, we can probably just sit on this hand, maybe make it look like our hand is not quite as good as it is. That seems pretty good. Reset Stamp means that I'm actually super likely to do that, to be honest. Because we could potentially lock them completely here. Let's Night Watch take the knockout. We'll reduce their hand to 3, which is acceptable. Those 2 cards were barely relevant. We're going to grab 3 prizes here, and we're going to bait our opponent to knock out our Mewtwo and Mew. If they knock out the Mewtwo and Mew here, they go to 2 prizes remaining. I can reset stamp them, then Aurora Energy onto the active, which will be a Trevnoir, and remove their entire hand. So they've got 0 cards in hand. They'll almost guaranteed have to Intrepid Sword, which would be fantastic. So hopefully they don't, like, find boss and play around this bait here. I would like to see that, if I can. They are just going to Brave Blade, so their hand not relevant to them here. They're Brave Blading. They're going to take 4 prizes. We can then promote our Trevnoir, reset stamp, and remove all of their cards in their hand. So we're almost forcing our opponent to use Intrepid Sword next turn, which is good. It's good for us. We've got tag switches aplenty here, so I might get rid of one of those. I'll play down the Chaotic Swell. Let's use Tag Call, grab ourselves, I don't know, a Mewtwo and Mew and a Giratina Garchomp. That seems fine. Quick ball away that Giratina Garchomp, grab ourselves a Reshiram. Actually, probably should have grabbed the Dedenne, to be honest. But that's okay. Let's reset stamp. We'll stamp them to 2. We are backing ourselves in here to Night Watch them out of a hand. So let's Night Watch. We almost guaranteed force our opponent into... There's that Empoleon again. They've had it twice. Almost guaranteed force them to get a top deck here or Intrepid Sword. If they have nothing, that's fantastic news for us. They are just Intrepid Swording. Okay, so it comes down to 1 card off of a Night Watch, right? We've got... Actually, we've Quick Ball... we've found a Quick Ball here, which is crazy. We could probably go into our Mewtwo and Mew, actually. Let's have a look. Let's see if we can get into it. We've got the Dedenne, which we're going to use. We've got 4 switches left in the deck. Okay, so I'm going to take a bit of a risk here. I'm going to tag switch onto the Mewtwo. The reason for this is if our opponent... Actually, we should probably use the Aurora Energy here. Let's put that onto the Mewtwo. If our opponent doesn't have anything, their best out is going to be to try and attack into our Mewtwo. We didn't find a switch. Of course we didn't. We've got the research, though, so that's fine. Let's grab ourselves Vileplume. I think that's fine. That's not too much of a problem. Okay. Let's research. Find a switch, or otherwise I've embarrassed myself. Found a switch. Okay. Beautiful. So we're going to switch into the Mewtwo. We're going to use Night Watch here. We take the knockout. If our opponent has nothing in hand, they'll have 2 cards to work with. If they have nothing in hand, we have game with Reshiram and Charizard if they attack into us. If our hand stays the same, we can Aurora Energy onto the active and knock it out with Flare Strike. So, all we need to do is hope that our opponent doesn't find Boss or Gust this turn, and we win the game. That's the gamble with Night Watch, right? We don't know. If our opponent finds the Gust off of the top deck, then they win the game. Okay, well, I mean, that happens. We gave ourselves the best chance to win. Just unfortunate in another universe where 2 out of 32 cards aren't a boss, we win that game, so I can't complain. That last game's a little bit rough, but that's fine. It's fine, it happens, and especially in a deck like that, sometimes that does just happen to you. If you want to play any of the 4 lists that I've talked about today, they are all down in the description, as well as a link to Twitter and Discord. Join those if you'd like. There's also a subscribe button down there. There's a like button and a membership button. Thank you very much to the people to my left. Is it my left? It's my right, actually. Bang, over there. Your left, my right, who have clicked the membership button, including quite a few generous people over the last couple of days on our live stream recently. There were 10 new members added, so thank you very much to those people, including Dadbod, Azazel, and Tarko, who have all ascended beyond all reason. Thank you very much for your support. Fernando, Yolo, Stephen, Ty, Agent Abel, Austin, Josiah, Andy, Exonix, Robsy, and Caster PD. Appreciate your generous support, as well as all of the other Mega Sableyes who are over here. The list is too long to mention. Thank you everyone for coming along to yet another very interesting video from the Sableyes, if you don't mind me saying so myself, and I'll see you next time. Thanks very much for coming. Bye.